If you've ever wanted to live in the world of Red Dead Redemption 2, on the Tackroom we have real estate, and this gives you the ability to put down some roots within the map, within the game, whether you're looking for a cozy cabin near the pines or building your dream ranch from the ground up. There's something for everybody. This video we're going to go through how to inquire about a house, what's the difference between a native house and a custom Y map, and then just going through some basics about housing in general. So stay tuned. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, or if you're already in our Discord, drop them in the questions and we will try to answer them as soon as we can. Let's go ahead and get into it. When you want to get started on inquiring about buying a house or building a house, you're going to go into the Discord, and we do close our real estate the last week or the last 2 weeks of every month. That is solely just so our real estate team can get caught up on inquiries. So you'll go there, and at the very top you will see that there is a green icon if it's open for inquiries, or a red icon meaning that it's currently closed. Now, if you already have an inquiry with us and it's closed, you can still discuss with us in your post, but that just means we are closed to any new inquiries, so you have to wait until we open back up. So you are first going to go to the Start Here channel. Once you get in that channel, you are going to see a variety of links. So housing rules, custom Y maps, MLO and 𝐓𝐴, prices, FAQ, how to inquire, and custom home boundaries. That is essentially a table of contents. There's a lot of information in here, and we do ask that you read this prior to putting your inquiry in. It's just required. It helps you understand what the housing is, what we ask of homeowners, so that is a great place to get started. As you go through and you read through the general real estate rules, make sure you go through, like I already said, you have to have the 72 hours of in-game activity. We will get into prices and taxing in a little bit. However, it's a lot of great information to understand as a homeowner to know what you need to expect when you're owning a home. Some other big questions that always come up is, how soon can I move? Once I move in, I want to move to a different house. You do have to wait 30 days, and someone might grab that house before your 30 days is up. Are you allowed to own more than one home? No, we want to limit home ownership to one per person, not one per character. We do ask that players don't rent out their homes for in-game money. You are more than welcome to offer rooms for free, as we do have a lot of players, but we ask that you do not charge in-game money or rent to other players. And then we also say, if you decide to leave the server or you are no longer active, we do remove the home and let it be bought again. And that is just because we can't have houses being sat and not being used when we do have a large number of people looking to move into homes. We have two types of housing right now as of May 2025, is our native or in-game houses and our custom Y maps. So we're going to get into the differences between those so you can understand which is what, and kind of what requirements you need for each one. So we're going to first start off with our in-game homes or native homes, and so these are any houses that are already in the map that you usually can go ahead and go inside on RDO. So these are houses, the doors are open, you can go and explore inside, and there is quite a few of them, from very large mansions like Braithwaite all the way down to very tiny cabins, or we have the Hobbit Hut, I think is one that's also open, but there is a large variety of sizes. Now, of course, I will say as of right now, a lot of the mansions and larger buildings have already been taken and sold, and that kind of goes into our conversation here in a little bit about activity. However, there is still plenty of homes available on the map and in the server that are quote-unquote native homes. We'll talk about a little bit about our community housing as well, because they're kind of native homes. They're just custom built by the server. So for instance, this house is owned by 2 players, so it's got a main primary and then they share a key. We're going to go ahead and walk inside of it. So with our native houses, all you need to do is play 72 hours, and then you can have full access into purchasing a home. You just have to follow the 72 hours as well as read the rules. And when you put that inquiry in, then the inquiry is going to be correct. There's a few certain things you need to include in that inquiry up front. So you can see this house is kind of already decorated, and that's probably just from RDO. However, I am sure, knowing the owners of this house, they have put some additional decorations out. We do with all our houses, whether it's native Y map or a custom Y map, you get a housing menu, and what that is it gives you an ability to manage your house, and I'll show that at the very end of the video on managing your home, as well as kind of the furniture menu and how you can use it. So that is something to kind of keep in mind later on. Our native houses, you are still required to pay an in-game amount. I will talk about prices and taxes here in a little bit. You can look down in the caption below for timestamps on those discussions, because this video is going to be a little bit longer. But the prices do vary. It really depends on the size of the home. It depends on if you have property with the house. If it depends on if it's like got multiple bedrooms or a studio, or there's a lot of factors that go into it. And so we've kind of grouped houses in a specific way. So we popped over here to 𝐓𝐴𝐞 Pond. There's a lot of people that want to live in this house. I can already see that someone has been decorating, because these are some of our furniture items that they have set out. So that is one of the things, is a lot of players do own some of these properties, and eventually sometimes they move. And so a house might come available, it might not. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind when you are looking for a house, that if you see a house that's on the map and says for sale, please do not buy it. You need to go through a real estate agent first. We might already be discussing with somebody that that house is going to be sold. So if you see something for sale, please just make sure to go through the regular channel and request the house, see if you can move into it, etc. So 𝐓𝐴𝐞 Pond is another in-game or native home. This one would actually be considered a homestead property. So when we talk about pricing, this one's got a lot of this space already built onto it, so you wouldn't have to get a custom Y map or anything to add paddocks or anything. You already kind of have it at this property, so it's probably why it's sought after, is because you have the cows, you have the fields within that house itself. As of right now, we are looking at options for hotels or something like that. We are working on a community housing, and what that is we have built locations around the map that has a variety of smaller homes, and we'll put a picture of some of them here. And so what those are they are just homes that our staff have built, and they're little community areas that you only need to pay the 72 hours to then be able to purchase them. You don't need to pay in game for them. They're custom built by our staff team. However, you can still just play 72 hours and be able to purchase them. So the next housing opportunity that we have are custom Y maps. Now, these are something that you do have to donate through our Ko-Fi or through our 𝐓𝐴𝐴𝐞 for the top 3 packages that we have. And that is because these do take up a lot more resources on the server. Future SAS here, so you are going to see screenshots on the video that are Ko-Fi and 𝐓𝐴𝐴𝐞. We do plan on moving to 𝐓𝐴𝐴𝐞 soon, so after probably June of 2025 we will be switched over to 𝐓𝐴𝐴𝐞 officially, but there's still screenshots for Ko-Fi and 𝐓𝐴𝐴𝐞. If you hear any mention of Ko-Fi, all of the same pricing and packages will be over on 𝐓𝐴𝐴𝐞 as well. So if that's getting a little confusing, I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw this in here just as a reminder and kind of like a, hey, we're going to be switching to 𝐓𝐴𝐴𝐞 soon enough. If I use Ko-Fi, just out of habit. Only require you to have 1 month of the Ko-Fi tier to be able to start building. After that, you're not required to maintain a Ko-Fi at all. You just need to have that first one when you are first building. This property here belongs to Wild Rose Acres, so this is a custom Y map that she had built. As you can see, she's got some pastures, she's got a barn, she's got her house, and then also she has her round pen over here. So this player has built this house and placed individually these items using a tool that we call Spooner, and then that file is given to our real estate team, and we make the doors work, we make the gates work, we do all those sort of things. When you are building a custom Y map, there are certain requirements, being we have 3 different sizes that players can build, which correlate with the correct Ko-Fi tier or 𝐓𝐴𝐴𝐞 tier. You can do a 25 by 25, a 50 by 50, or a 100 by 100. This property here is 100 by 100, which means as of right now, being she is far away from a town, she is allowed to have at least 400 entities when building. Now those entities do not include decoration. Those are the building structures, the foundations, the fencing, the doors, anything like that, not the decorations. The decorations come within the furniture menu themselves. So that is a very big confusion people have, is it decor or is it building? The best way that I like to recommend people is, if you are purchasing this property and you are moving in, what items would you have to move in with you? You're not going to have hitching posts, you're not going to have flowers, you're not going to have any furniture. That is something you have to build into the house after you buy it. So all of these rules, again, are in Discord that go over what is required in custom Y maps. the build requirements, the build entities. There is a good handful of areas along the map we ask for people not to build. So that is anywhere like Little Creek or the poppy fields, the main Heartland overflow, anything that is extremely scenic. We do ask that people not build in those areas because we don't want to get in front of beautiful scenic areas of this game. So this is another custom property. This belongs to Frontier Equine Rescue. And so they built this property and they have a main barn. They have a little arena over here. They have some pastures and then they have their main house. So this property is still built on a 100 by 100. It just uses the land a little bit different. So we don't have any creative requirements for people. However, we do ask and kindly just remind, like, don't build something super obnoxious in the area. Try to make it work within the land. Don't try to add a ton of foundations to flatten it out. Make it actually look like it fits within the map itself. For custom Y maps, if someone decides to move or pull their Y map or decides to leave the server, we do remove the Y maps. We do not resell them to players. This is just something kind of a respect thing of I wouldn't feel good, nor would most of our team feel good of if someone moved into a house that we put all the time or money into to build, and also it might not be in the best location that someone else might want to. So houses are never resold that are custom Y maps. That is just kind of our go-to in the server. Is once someone doesn't live there anymore, we pull the map completely. It's no longer in our server files, and then someone else can either choose the spot or choose another spot nearby and then build their own home. We do have a lot of people that are not great at Spooner, and that's okay. It's definitely a program to learn if you've never messed with it before. And so luckily we do have a role within the Discord you can tag for builders. And what this does is tag people that have selected this role to then be potentially asked if they would build. More than likely you would have to pay in-game money for them to build your property, and they can help you build out the facility you want. We'll jump into the pricing and the taxes. So I'm going to put a screenshot over the video on what our pricing are. So you can have a look at this in our Discord. So pricing varies on studios all the way up into the mansions as well as the custom Y maps. And then with each one of those, monthly you are required to pay taxes. And so that is a set amount. If you decide to live off map, because you can build off map, so this is more a custom Y map homes, you do get 50% off of your taxes every month, but that is one of the requirements monthly that we ask players to do, is pay your taxes monthly. In addition to that, we do ask players play a minimum of 10 hours. This goes back into the discussion about we want active players owning these homes. So we do ask that players play a minimum of 10 hours in a 30-day span. We do check these monthly. Now, if you decided to continue to support the server, you maintain a Ko-Fi or Tebex, then you can bypass that 10 hours. You're not required to. It's just one of those little things that we thank you for still supporting us, that you don't have to play those 10 hours as you're continuing the support for the server. So the biggest question we always get is, where can I find a house or where can I find a place to build? And we do not have a list of available homes or available plots. However, we do have a real estate map on our website, and what that is owned homes or owned properties already or being built on properties. And so that gives you a general idea of if you're looking around, say you're going on a trail ride, you find a house, you really like it, and you're like, I wonder if this is available. You can go and reference the real estate map to see if it's already claimed. If there's nothing on the map, then that is when you could potentially make an inquiry on it. We do ask when you put that inquiry that you include a picture of the home and also include a picture of the map, but make sure there's enough land markers on the map that we know exactly where you're looking. If you do very zoomed in, we don't know where that's at. So we do ask there's some little land markers or even map names that we can kind of see where that house is at. So when you're going around looking at houses, be sure to have that real estate map up, because that does help a lot to see if a house is already taken or not, and it makes your process of buying a house much smoother and much quicker. So this part of the video, we are going to talk about the furniture menu. So this is more applicable to those that already have purchased a home or they're in the process of buying the home. You will always get the furniture menu or the housing menu. This is something of where you manage your taxes, where you can sell the house back to us, where you can give keys to friends, where you can also place furniture. So this is my own house. So what you're going to do is you would walk up to the front door, and you can see on the right hand side, I'm going to get a little icon or prompt to toggle the lock. So I'm going to unlock my door. Sometimes it doesn't open, sometimes it does. It's just a little buggy with the script sometimes. And if the door does not open, one thing you can do is hit delete, use spooner, and then I like to hit alt, and then C to move doors. That is just like a little trick. If your doors don't open, that's just kind of one of the things you can do to bypass it. So then when we go into the menu, I'm going to go ahead and hit Q once. So it gives us the option of add key holder, remove key holder, and transfer house. So you're never going to use the transfer house thing, but you might use the add key holder, remove key holder. This is giving a key to a friend or potential someone that's living in your house with you, something of that sort. The next menu when I hit Q is place dresser, place furniture, and remove dressers. So we'll get back into this because this is kind of the biggest part of the home menu. We'll go again. So we have place storage, check ledger, and remove storage. So check ledger, when you hit the left arrow button, this is where you put your taxes in. So as of right now, so my taxes are going to be due in 12 days for $7,500. So I'm going to put deposit. I'm going to deposit $7,500 in that ledger. I'm going to go through and I'm going to go double check and make sure. So there's $7,500 in that ledger. So that will be there for taxes when the taxes need to come out. So that is very important to make sure you do every 30 days. We do have reminders in Discord so you know when to go and put your money in. And then at the very end is stop renting. So if you decide to sell your house back to real estate, we do give you 50% of your purchase price. So this is when we would coordinate with you to do stop renting or stop owning, and then you would put that up for sale, and then we can remove the house for you. So we're going to go into and focus mainly on the furniture menu. So we're going to do and click Q until you get to this screen. So you're going to click place furniture. So that is left arrow key. Now, a lot of people get confused, and when you start going through this, you're scrolling your scroll wheel and you're thinking these are the only items available. You can see the categories change in the lower right hand corner, but if you hit left and right, each category has a variety of items in each one. We have, I think, almost 800 items in our furniture menu, so there is a lot of items for you to go through and look at. If you're having a harder time looking at them, you might need to like wiggle your mouse around a little bit to kind of see some things. And so we're going to go in here, and I need to find some area. I need to put some furniture. So I'm still trying to finish my house. And so all of this stuff in here that you see is all placed with furniture menu. So I kind of want to put some sort of photo up there. So I'm going to go through and scroll and try to find... I already have enough plants. Actually, we're going to go out back. Let's see if I can go out back. If I can't go out back. So again, I'm going to use this door trick because I do want to... Sometimes it glitches. So the other thing you can do is delete your door. It comes back later. It doesn't permanently delete it. So if I want to decorate my back patio, I want to go and find the fireplace or the fire pits. Let's see if I can find them. So there's kitchen. So then I'm using up arrow to kind of move some things around, and I wiggle my mouse around to get some things kind of set a little differently. And that is just some stuff that I do personally to use furniture menus. There's like a kitchen counter, taxidermy, photos, couches. Okay, so I want to see if they have the wicker couch in this category. There is. Okay. So I kind of like this. So let's go and put this over here. And it's a little too high, so I want to bring that up. And this is where it gets a little tricky, and it just takes time. Don't get frustrated by it. It just takes time to get used to this menu. To rotate it, unfortunately, there is only way you can rotate it. So you press and hold shift until it rotates in the direction you want it to be. That is just a limit within the script itself. So we're going to rotate it this entire time until we get it to the position that we want it in. And then sometimes I like lining my items up with straight walls so I know if it's straight or not. It is kind of difficult sometimes to do that. So like this, I can see it's kind of clipping more on the right side and left side. So I'm going to pull it forward. I'm going to move it down a little bit. So it just takes a little bit of time to mess with it. And that might be because just we're outside on a patio sort of deal. And so I'm going to move it over more. And then once it's an area I like, I'm going to go ahead and place it by hitting enter. So it's still see-through. Now, if you want to adjust it a little bit, you can use your arrow keys to adjust. But if you like the placement, then you can go ahead and press enter again. And now that item is placed, and you can actually even go up and still, you should be able to interact with it. Those ones you might not on those sofas. But then we can go back to that door and pick another item. So furniture menu, definitely give yourself some time. Don't get frustrated with it. There is a lot of furniture to go through. Even we have stuff for jumps and stables. Those are a little bit more difficult to remove from items. But like for instance, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go to horse barrels. Let's go props. And I think, hold on it. There is other categories like barn. Where is it? Stable decor. So see, I'm kind of like moving my mouse to get some things to pop up. It's like there's a grain bag, horse brush. There's a saddle. So I think I might have some saddle racks in here that need saddles. Nope, I already have them. Oh, I do not want to go up to my hayloft. But there is also in here, you can do saddle racks. So let's see if I can find a saddle rack. There's a hitching post. So there's a saddle rack that's already got a saddle on it. If I wanted to have some of these harnesses, I'd probably move them down a little bit. And then I'm going to rotate these again. So these are all ways that you can use the furniture menu to decorate your house. With native houses, you also get this access to this menu. A lot of people ask about the clutter that is within those houses, and that's just not something we really can remove. There is something we're trying to work on, but what we do tell people is your best bet is to try to use some of the furniture menus to cover them up as best you can. We do have a lot of plants. We have hay bales. So there's some creativity that you can use to cover up some of the items that don't look that great. So I'm going to go ahead and place this. So then I have some stuff there, and I want to remove that. So I'm going to run back to my door, and that is the other frustrating thing is you always have to run back to your door. So if I wanted to remove that, I'm going to go here, here, left control, and then you see it's flashing. So then I'm going to run all the way out to my barn. And see, I keep wanting to go up that ladder. And then I'm going to just make sure it's highlighting over that item. And then it's going to delete it. So I'm not going to go too much more into furniture menu. The best thing about furniture menu is going through and playing with it and finding what items you like. So we'll just do a quick little roll through on my house to see some potential on furniture menu. But we're going to wrap up on housing. If you have any questions, of course, please ask them in the comments. Housing is really confusing on the server. You can always ask them in the Discord. Our team is there to answer all the questions you have. But best of luck and happy moving and finding your future home in Red Dead.